standing in possibly the coolest spot in South Jersey. This is Cooper River Distillers. It's a working whiskey distillery. It opened 2 years ago. It was only the second distillery to open since the Prohibition. 8 are now open in the state. This is a really cool place. You can come here on Friday nights, see how they make their whiskey, and you can hang out, have a cocktail with friends, and just have a really good night in a really cool place. I'm meeting owner James Yoakum. He's a Wharton grad who had a pretty successful career as a Philadelphia realtor, but now he spends his time working on something completely different. What are you doing?
We are taking some proof measurements here. We're making rum today.
So can I drink that?
You can take your finger.
Really?
Take a sip if you want.
Okay.
It's a little strong, I have to warn you. Just measured it. It's about 120 proof right now.
It's a little strong. My gosh. Okay, that's strong. Where did you get the idea to do this?
I had been making beer at home and I decided, wonder if I can make whiskey at home. And the beautiful thing is it's not that complicated.
Okay.
Really, I learned it talking to other distillers, visiting other distilleries. The internet's a great resource, obviously, and then a lot of trial and error.
So you're making rum.
Today we're making rum.
Right.
We switch back and forth between rum and whiskey.
Okay.
Kind of just depending on what we were ready to make that day.
When you started this, did you know you were going to be making rum?
Yes, so I'm originally from Kentucky, so the thing I'm passionate about is bourbon. That's the end goal, is to make, you know, New Jersey's best bourbon ever.
All right.
That's the end goal, but I knew that would take a long time because bourbon gets most of its flavor from aging in barrels, and that's going to be years, and I didn't want to feel rushed about that, so I knew I also like rum. Rum's delicious, people love it, it's fun, and it's a lot faster to make. So I knew we could get a good rum out in, you know, a few months versus a good bourbon that's going to take us years.
Right.
What you're looking at here is actually almost the last step. What's coming out right here, this thing's called the Parrot.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a parrot. What's coming out of the Parrot right now is drinkable. It's finished rum today. On other days it would be whiskey. But when it comes out of here, it could be a finished product.
Since the rum is at its final stage, a big part of today's work will be bottling. Each run from the still fills 50 to 60 bottles, and they are filled right here at the distillery. I'm going to help out with today's batch.
So we'll fire this up. It's going to take it just a minute to start pulling the rum through. What it's doing is we've got our tank over here full of rum. It's got a big batch in there, and this pulls it through using vacuum. So then if you want, you can just pull these off.
Okay.
Grab one of those corks from there and pop it right in the top.
Okay.
And I'll get the next one going.
When you were in real estate and you told people, oh, I'm opening a whiskey distillery, what did they say?
Different reactions from different people. I think everyone thought, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And some people thought, oh, that sounds great, go right ahead, that'll be easy. And then a few people realized that I was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I think people in the industry know how difficult it is to start something like this, and you know, they would warn me that, hey, it's going to take you years and years, and they weren't wrong.
I know a label goes on here. How does that happen? Do you do that here?
We do the labels here as well. We actually have
everything here.
We do everything. We don't grow our own grain. We wish we could. Being in downtown Camden, the corn growing is a little tricky, but everything else, once the corn comes in, we're taking it from there.
I think the next step would be to taste them.
I agree.
Perfect.
From the bottle or something a little classier than that?
No, I'll take a glass.
All right.
I'll take a glass, thanks. I'm curious and maybe a little nervous to taste James' creations. I'm not exactly a huge whiskey drinker, so I've brought along my husband Joe to help, which he was happy to do. The lounge part of the distillery has a 70s basement kind of feel, and that's a good thing. This is where people hang out on the weekends.
So we're only open Fridays and Saturdays, and the Friday night tends to be an after-work crowd. They come, they have some drinks. You can always bring your own food. You can hang out. We have dartboards, have various board games. And then on Saturdays, that tends to be the crowd that's more curious about distilling. So we do a lot of tours on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Come get a tour, learn about what we do. Every now and then we'll have a band playing music. So it's a good time.
We're going to be tasting rum, but there's a whole bar here, so you can order all kinds of cocktails using the newly made rum or whiskey. Why is this Petty's Island rum?
Oh, so the rum is named after an island that's maybe a mile from here in the Delaware River. So Petty's Island is a little island out in the Delaware between Philly and Camden, and it is an island full of crazy history. So we picked it for the name of our rum.
How did you know that? How did you know that?
It's something I saw on a map, and I said, it sounds like a rum, you know, because rum tends to be from the islands, but it also lets people know that it's from this area. And it turns out that in the history of Petty's Island, it was purchased way back in the 1600s, and there's a deed that they found, and the purchase price was barrels of rum and barrels of gunpowder. So
no way.
Couldn't be more appropriate as a name for a rum.
All right, so when I taste this, which kind of terrifies me, What am I looking for?
So what I just poured you is our Petty's Island Rye Oak Reserve rum. So
Okay.
this is our aged rum. It ages in used rye whiskey barrels. So with this one, you're going to taste the alcohol. It is 90 proof, but also you're going to taste some of the notes from the barrel, the oak flavors, which is a lot of vanilla, cinnamon, spice, and it's going to taste a lot like whiskey. So if you're a whiskey drinker, you're going to say, hey, that's rum, but it's a lot like a whiskey, and that's because we're using those barrels twice, and they had previously been for whiskey.
Okay. Are we ready?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers
Cheers.
to Petty's Island.
Indeed.
Oh my.
You really can taste the whiskey.
Right?
Yeah.
This is our stepping stone from the rum drinker to the whiskey drinker.
Yeah.
So, do you have to drink it a lot to get used to that? When I taste, it's just like, oh, it's jolting, and that's to me. So I can't even tell you if it's good or not because I'm just the first thing I'm feeling is, oh my God, what was that?
Sure. So it is 90 proof, and I would say the main reason we do it at 90 proof is because anyone can bring it down to where they're comfortable.
Oh, you put water in
So
it.
you can add water,
Okay.
add ice,
That might be
and
helpful.
then you find where you're comfortable and then work up to, because the more water you add, the less flavor. So this is
Okay.
where it's going to have the most flavor if you can get past the alcohol to taste that flavor.
What are the plans? Are you taking this national?
You know, we want to first make sure that we're established as South Jersey's, favorite spirits. We want to, people think South Jersey rum, South Jersey whiskey, they think of us. That's goal number one. And then we'll gradually spread out into the surrounding region and maybe one day go national, who knows. We're definitely pretty well distributed in New Jersey, and we just are expanding right now in Pennsylvania and down into Delaware and Maryland. So we're starting to get it out a little further.
And your hopes for this? Will you be some giant big whiskey distillery someday?
Sky's the limit, I guess. So maybe one day we'll look like Jack Daniel's, where we have a whole campus of.
Well, and I hope you'll be in South Jersey when you do that.
Absolutely, we want to. We've tied our roots to the area. Just look at the name of our products, and
True.
we'll be here.
Great. We tasted a spiced rum called Driftwood Dreams Spiced Rum. James says it's one of their most popular rums, and I can see why. That's really tasteful, and I would think if you mix that with other things,
yeah.
it'd be really good.
Yeah.
Cooper River Distillers is the place to learn a few things about making whiskey and rum, but it's also a cool spot to hang out with friends. Next time you're at a restaurant or liquor store, ask for Petty's Island. It's a great way to get a taste of South Jersey.